GM is struggling to sell their vehicles, so now they are giving them away for almost a penny. And this will directly affect their customers and the industry in general. Even their own dealerships are voicing their concerns about this shift in strategy. And remember all the headlines about the government doing deals with GM and even stepping in to solve issues. Well, this is the reason. Let me break it down for you. What is happening? General Motors is in the hot seat and things are heating up fast. The company is facing some serious challenges that have pushed it into a position where drastic measures are now on the table, like slashing vehicle prices to boost sales. What's driving this shift? It's a tangled web of a lot of things that could even lead to bankruptcy. Now, I know you're probably thinking, how big of a deal can it really be? Well, CEO Mary Barra has recently raised some eyebrows by suggesting that GM might be looking into bankruptcy as a way to get a grip on its inventory and cash flow issues. Yeah, that's right, bankruptcy. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, so let's talk about it. Why is this happening? Wait, and what are the implications? This bold statement has sent shockwaves through the company and prompted many to wonder about GM's future, especially as it tries to navigate an automotive market that's evolving at breakneck speed. At the heart of the matter is a troubling backlog of unsold vehicles. Sluggish sales have left GM in a tough spot. To tackle this problem head on, the automaker is making the hard decision to offer steep discounts on its vehicles, aiming to bring in some quick cash and get things moving again. And when we look at sales performance, there's a glimmer of good news. In the second quarter of 2024, GM reported a slight uptick in overall vehicle sales, which is a relief. Right? They managed to sell 21,930 electric vehicles during this period, a 40% increase compared to last year. However, hold on a second, this increase still doesn't paint a complete picture, as they fell short of their production goals. Plus, this GM we are talking about, they are almost becoming too invested in the EV sector, so the surprise would be if they didn't increase the sales. And looking ahead, GM is projected to sell only $112,000 battery-powered vehicles throughout 2024. That figure is a long way off from their original targets, and it raises some serious questions about their EV strategy. And right now, the company is sitting on a mountain of cars that just can't seem to find a home, and this accumulation is the result of a mix of production delays and a slowdown in fleet sales. So what does all this mean for GM moving forward? The company is at a crossroads, faced with the critical task of reevaluating its strategies and finding solutions to these pressing challenges. And under the dynamic guidance of Mary Barra, General Motors has made a jaw-dropping choice. They're going to stop selling their beloved trucks and SUVs through traditional dealerships. But why? I mean, traditionally trucks and SUVs are not just vehicles for GM. They've been the cornerstone of their success for decades. Iconic models such as the Chevrolet Silverado and Cadillac Escalade have stood the test of time. Not only are they popular, but they also rake in those profits like nobody's business. So why are they doing this? First, sustainability and emissions reduction are at the heart of GM's strategy. GM doesn't mind selling cars as long as they are EVs. We're living in an era where climate change is a pressing concern, and companies everywhere are stepping up their game. GM is no exception, as they align their goals with the global push for sustainability. The bold ambition to electrify a whopping 50% of their vehicle lineup by 2030, leading up to an impressive target of achieving 100% electric sales by 2035. This isn't just a trend, it's a commitment to shaping a greener future, and they're serious about it. And they plan as consumer awareness grows, GM will be seizing a golden opportunity to capture market share and attract a fresh wave of customers. And they are right to think that. Back in 2022, over half, 54% of GM's EV sales were to individuals who were new to the brand. It's clear that people are ready to embrace electric mobility, and GM is ready to be at the forefront of this shift. They believe their EV lineup delivers the performance, technology, and driving range that today's customers are looking for. Models such as the Chevrolet Equinox EV and the eagerly awaited Bolt EV aren't just about being electric. They offer affordability and ensure that an electric vehicle is accessible to a broader audience. It's about making electric life not just aspirational, but achievable. But the question is it worth it in the first place? And what are the challenges that come with it? Well, together with all these changes and decisions, they're officially cutting ties with dealerships for selling their beloved trucks and SUVs. And this could be a recipe for disaster. These are the bread and butter for them. We're talking iconic models like the Chevrolet Silverado and Cadillac Escalade, which aren't just popular, they're financial powerhouses. In 2022, the Chevrolet Silverado stood tall as one of the best-selling vehicles in the entire United States, topped off with sales soaring past $600,000 units, making it the silver medalist in overall vehicle sales, right behind the Ford F-Series. And don't underestimate the Cadillac Escalade. With its luxury price tags and upscale features, it adds a hefty boost to GM's profit margins, often exceeding $100,000 for those fully loaded models. In regions that love their trucks like Texas, these vehicles aren't just machines. They embody a culture of freedom and adventure. According to a 2023 survey by the National Automobile Dealers Association, a whopping 70% of truck owners say their vehicles are indispensable for everyday life. That's some serious emotional and functional attachment. By doing this, GM risks alienating a loyal customer base that's built their lives around these rugged and reliable rides. Let's not forget about the dealers, the hardworking folks on the front lines of automotive sales. They've poured money into their businesses and built solid relationships within their communities. By sidelining the very products that keep their dealerships thriving, GM risks straining these vital partnerships. Many dealers might feel blindsided by this surprising decision, potentially spurring messy negotiations or even legal battles. According to a 2024 report by Automotive News, nearly 40% of GM dealerships indicated that trucks and SUVs account for over 70% of their sales, showing just how reliant they are on these models for income. Such backlash could seriously disrupt GM's grand plan to pivot towards electrification, as dealerships play a critical role in engaging customers and fostering brand loyalty. The National Automobile Dealers Association has warned that this strategic shift could lead to a dramatic drop in dealership profits, which might even force some to close their doors or lay off employees in the competitive automotive retail space. On the financial front, these trucks and SUVs aren't just fan favorites, they're cash cows. The profit margins on these vehicles far outweigh those for most EVs. For instance, the average profit margin on a full-size pickup truck can reach a staggering 25%, while many EVs struggle to keep things profitable due to high production costs and lower market prices. In 2023, GM reported an average profit of about $4,000 for each traditional internal combustion engine ICE vehicle sold, while EVs offered a much slimmer $1,500 per vehicle. By taking these cash cows away, GM is entering a risky game with its financial future. If those electric models don't quickly fill the revenue gap, GM could be in for a bumpy ride. So will GM steer back on course, or are they headed straight for a wall? It means they might go at this point. Think about it, the stakes are super high right now. Let me explain. To effectively embrace the shift to electric vehicle sales, General Motors must place a strong emphasis on nurturing its relationships with dealers. This focus is not just important, it's absolutely essential for gaining their support and ensuring a seamless transition in sales strategies. So what's GM's plan here? Well, they have some ambitious plans on the horizon. One key area of focus is the expansion of online sales capabilities. GM aims to allow customers to purchase an even wider range of vehicles directly from the company. And they are not alone. Direct-to-consumer is taking the retail world by storm. But what exactly is it? This innovative model allows brands to sell their products straight to the consumer, skipping the traditional retail channels like wholesalers and third-party retailers entirely. Sounds revolutionary, right? It's more than just a sales tactic. It's a game changer that enables companies to forge direct relationships with their customers. By doing so, they gain crucial insights into consumer behavior and preferences, all while keeping a tight grip on branding and marketing strategies. As the e-commerce landscape continues to expand and consumer expectations shift towards personalized shopping experiences, the DTC model has gained incredible momentum in recent years, absolutely transforming the retail experience. What makes the DTC model so compelling? For starters, DTC brands enjoy unparalleled control over the customer experience. They manage everything from inventory to fulfillment and customer interactions. This level of management allows them to craft a seamless and highly personalized shopping journey for consumers, one that leaves a lasting impression. Plus, by cutting out middlemen, these brands can tap into direct access to customer data. What does that mean? In simple terms, they can gather invaluable information on purchasing behavior, preferences, and feedback. feedback. All of this data is a goldmine that helps inform product development and fine-tunes marketing strategies, putting brands in a better position to satisfy their audience. Another fantastic perk of the DTC model is cost efficiency. Without middlemen in the mix, companies can reduce operational costs, which enables them to offer more competitive pricing. This opens the door for potentially higher profit margins that can positively impact the bottom line. Furthermore, when brands engage in DTC sales, they foster deeper relationships with customers. This thing has potential, there is no denying that. But how is GM trying to implement this? This is what makes or breaks their grand plan, the implementation. GM's exploration of direct-to-consumer DTC sales is more than just a trendy idea. It has been a significant part of the company's strategy for a while now. They are not just dipping their toes in the water, they have begun testing DTC sales with select models, which means you can now order your brand new vehicle directly through GM's website. How cool is that? This initiative is all about simplifying the purchasing process. No more complicated dealership visits or endless back and forth negotiations. Instead, consumers can easily access GM's diverse EV lineup from the comfort of their couches. Now that's a major win for anyone looking to invest in a sleek new ride. But that is not all. To make this DTC approach even more enticing, GM is planning to establish experience centers. You might be wondering, what exactly are experience centers? Well, these hubs are tailored spaces where customers can engage with the GM brand like never before. They'll get to test drive vehicles, dive into the latest EV technologies, and receive personalized assistance from knowledgeable staff. It's basically the best of both worlds. The convenience of online sales combined with the tangible benefits of an in-person experience. These centers are set to bridge the gap between the traditional dealership model and cutting-edge DTC sales, creating a customer journey that's engaging and informative. However, not everything is smooth sailing on this journey. GM's DTC strategy faces some potential hurdles, and one of the biggest is navigating state regulations. You see, many states have laws in place that still favor traditional dealership models, which could complicate GM's plans to expand its DTC presence. So, as GM moves forward with this new approach, it'll be crucial for the company to tackle these regulatory challenges head-on to ensure a successful rollout. The need to be careful. Right now, GM's DTC initiatives are still in the early stages, but make no mistake, the company is all in. They're committed to expanding this model as an integral part of their broader strategy for electric vehicles. So what's the current state of affairs? Well, it's all about testing and gathering feedback for GM. They're actively collecting input from customers participating in the DTC trials. This feedback loop is essential for refining the purchasing process and addressing any challenges that pop up along the way. On top of that, GM is heavily investing in infrastructure to support these DTC efforts. But as GM makes moves to redefine its business and privacy dealer agreements, it's essential to treat it carefully in order to avoid any potential legal disputes with its dealer partners. Franchise agreements are at the heart of this discussion. These legally binding documents outline the rights and obligations of both GM and its dealers. Any significant changes to these agreements can stir up major contention. There's a long history of legal battles over this issue. For example, dealers have previously contested GM's decisions, arguing that modifications to their agreements breached state franchise laws or disrupted how they operate. In particular, landmark cases like Courtesy Oldsmobile, Inker vs. General Motors Corp. illustrate how courts have sided with dealers, stressing the importance of manufacturers sticking tightly to legal obligations when altering agreements that could influence franchise dynamics. To secure long-term operational success, GM must prioritize amicably resolving any legal disputes that pop up. Historical litigation between GM and its dealers highlights how unresolved conflicts can lead to serious disruptions. These are huge corporations we are talking about, but that is not the only huge sector that GM needs to look out for. So let's unpack this for a moment. The EV industry itself. Sure, General Motors is currently investing into this industry, but it is like navigating a complex landscape filled with a myriad of supply chain and battery production challenges. These issues are absolutely crucial to its ambitious electric vehicle strategy. As GM gears up to significantly ramp up its production of electric vehicles, the company is confronted with several hurdles that threaten its ability to meet market demands and hit its production targets. The path forward isn't just fraught with obstacles, it's a winding road demanding both strategic thinking and robust solutions. One major thorn in GM's side is securing reliable access to essential raw materials necessary for battery production. We're talking about vital components like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, materials that are absolutely critical for the manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries, the heart and soul of electric vehicles. The geopolitical risks that come with sourcing these materials are anything but negligible. Many of them are extracted from countries grappling with unstable political climates. Take cobalt, for example. It's primarily sourced from the Democratic Republic of Congo, a region plagued with ethical concerns regarding mining conditions and labor practices. This heavy reliance on regions that are geopolitically sensitive can lead to significant supply disruptions and wild price fluctuations, complicating GM's intricate supply chain management as they strive for reliable production. To support its transition to a fully electrified future, GM knows it has to lay down some serious cash for expanding its manufacturing facilities and scaling up battery production. The company has big plans unfolding. A new battery plan is set to emerge in Tennessee soon, but let's be real, the journey from a blueprint to a fully operational facility is not as smooth as we all want it to be. Construction often comes with delays and the pressing need for skilled labor. Moreover, GM is hustling to double its battery production capacity at its Factory Zero plant, yet this initiative hasn't been without its own share of operational hiccups along the way. Then there are the challenges of actual production scaling. GM has run into considerable roadblocks trying to ramp up its battery manufacturing to meet its lofty production goals. In 2024, the automaker aims to churn out between $200,000 to $300,000 Ultium-based EVs, a significant leap from where they've been in previous years. But these ambitious targets have hit a snag due to automation and assembly issues. There are reports swirling around that the automated machinery designed for battery assembly has experienced frustrating delays and inefficiencies, leading to a backlog that hampers overall production. For instance, glitches with the machinery responsible for assembling battery modules have become notorious. As a major bottleneck, they are stifling the output of exciting GM electric models like the Cadillac Lyriq and Bright Drop vans. And it's not just hardware that's giving GM headaches. There are software-related challenges complicating the EV production line. Issues with their in-house infotainment software for trendy models like the Chevy Blazer EV led to a temporary halt in vehicle sales, a situation no company wants to face. Given the ever-present threat of supply chain disruptions, GM recognizes the urgency of establishing robust contingency plans to keep the production flow steady. This doesn't just mean relying on a handful of suppliers. Diversification of their supplier base is essential to mitigate the risks associated with relying on any single source for raw materials and components. So with swirling supply chain and battery production challenges looming large, GM's success hinges on its ability to secure essential raw materials, successfully expand manufacturing capabilities, and scale production effectively while also tackling software-related hurdles. And it's not just about infrastructure. Consumer interest has started to slip thanks to worries about range, charging capabilities, and overall cost of ownership. A study from Consumer Reports found that nearly 60% of prospective EV buyers are put off by the lack of charging stations and the nagging fear of range anxiety. Clearly, there's a pressing need for strong charging networks to back up GM's ambitious electric aspirations. For starters, the charging infrastructure, or rather, the lack thereof, can pose a significant hurdle. You know how important it is to have a dependable network, right? Well, the absence of a robust public charging network, particularly in rural and suburban areas, could deter some potential EV buyers. It's all about ensuring people feel confident and supported in making the switch to electric. Then we have the production ramp-up, which has been far from perfect. GM has encountered delays and production hiccups in ramping up their Ultium-based EVs. Missing delivery targets in 2022 and 2023 has illustrated just how challenging the transition can be. Scaling up to meet demand is a critical factor. After all, you can't sell what you can't produce. And let's not overlook the financial implications either. GM is in the process of phasing out its lucrative trucks and SUVs, models that have historically represented serious profit margins. Meanwhile, EVs are grappling with the challenge of matching the profitability of their gasoline-powered counterparts. And to add insult on injury, there is one thing that is going on in the EV sector: price wars. This thing has been shaking them down to their core. General Motors is navigating through a truly tumultuous landscape in the electric vehicle sector, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This situation is more than just a bump in the road. It's a roller coaster ride through the complexities of today's automotive market. And at the center of this price war is none other than Tesla, the heavy hitter in the EV arena. Recently, Tesla made waves by reducing prices on its popular models like the Model 3 and Model Y by as much as 20%. This aggressive strategy has sent shockwaves through the industry, prompting other manufacturers like Ford to scramble and respond. Ford, for instance, cut prices on its Mustang Mach-E models by a staggering $5,900. Such drastic maneuvers aren't simply reactionary. They signal a broader trend wherein automakers are desperately trying to capture market share amid fierce competition. Just look at 2023. Tesla's price cuts led to a significant surge in demand, making it clear that other companies would have to rethink their pricing strategies to avoid losing customers to their more affordable rivals. The fallout from the price war isn't just limited to market positioning, it drastically impacts profit margins. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares has bluntly warned about an impending bloodbath in the EV sector if manufacturers keep racing toward the bottom with their pricing. As GM continues to grapple with persistent production challenges and software hiccups, the added pressure of shrinking profitability could have dire financial repercussions. To give you a sense of the strain, GM's operating profit margins have already been feeling the heat. The need to maintain aggressive pricing just to keep up with competitors could further constrict these margins, making it increasingly difficult for GM to run profitable operations. And there's more. With profit margins shrinking, automakers increasingly find themselves trimming investments in essential EV infrastructure, including the all-important charging networks. This is a particularly worrisome development for GM, especially since the lack of a robust charging infrastructure has long been cited as a significant barrier to EV adoption. The International Energy Agency has pointed out that the surge in EV ownership hinges on the expansion of charging facilities, which as of now are woefully insufficient in many regions. If automakers scale back their investments, GM could find itself losing ground, particularly as consumers seek out accessible charging options when deciding on their next EV purchase. Now, let's talk about product launches. The ongoing price war may force GM to shift its resources away from the critical task of developing new products. They could end up redirecting attention towards just maintaining competitive pricing, and this shift could easily lead to delays for some highly anticipated models. Think about the Chevy Silverado EV and the Cadillac Lyriq. These are vehicles that customers are eagerly waiting for. Unfortunately, the Silverado EV, which was originally set to hit the market in 2023, could see its launch postponed again as GM navigates the financial complexities associated with the aggressive pricing strategies required to stabilize its place in the market. Financial pressure is also mounting in GM's corner due to the hefty costs tied to its transition to electric vehicles. This price war adds further strain, pushing the company into a tight spot where it has to balance the critical need to maintain market share against the equally vital necessity of protecting its profit margins. A glance at GM's 2023 projected net income reveals that it's been revised downward to a range of $9.1 billion to $9.7 billion. This adjustment reflects not just the financial strain imposed by the price war, but also the various operational dramas playing out behind the scenes. Moreover, the anticipated new labor agreements are likely to add around $3 per kilowatt hour to battery cell costs, complicating GM's financial forecast even more. So what do you think? Is GM doing the right thing? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video.